Good morning, and welcome to New Hanover County Schools The Morning Show. I'm Marley Hughes.
And I'm Hannah Bolick. This is the week of November 30th through December 6th.
We have a superb show in store for you today, which will entertain and educate.
Today, we feature the Microsoft Academy CTE program in our CTE Highlight segment.
We also have our latest edition of The Buzz with host Leah Schwagel. This month, she covers a movie and tells us all about 3 December blockbusters heading our way.
And in our riveting Bell Ringers series from the C-SPAN classroom, we learn about the life and presidency of our country's 11th president, James Polk.
It's going to be another terrific show, but first, let's check in with our news anchor, Louis Behar. He is standing by right now with your school news headlines. Good morning, Louis.
Good morning, Marley and Hannah, and welcome everyone to your school news here on The Morning Show. Topping the headlines this week, Parent Forum held on dual immersion programs at Gregory and Forest Hills. Medal of Honor recipient speaks at Hoggard High School. Superintendent from across the region visit New Hanover High School. I will have all the stories and more coming up later in the show.
Thanks, Louis. We get things going today with a staple here on The Morning Show with the segment we call This Week in History. Our Grand Master of Historical Knowledge has all the headlines from past times in This Week in History, brought to you by Kidsville News. Welcome to This Week in History. I'm your historical host, Samantha Klein, covering all of the colorful and amazing events that have left their mark on history's timeline. This is the week of November 30th through December 6th. November 30th, 2004. After winning 74 straight games and more than $25 million, a record for U.S. game shows, Jeopardy contestant Ken Jennings loses. Jennings' extended winning streak gave the game show a huge ratings boost and turned the software engineer from Salt Lake City into a TV hero. December 1st, 1913. Henry Ford installs the first moving assembly line for the mass production of an entire automobile. His innovation reduced the time it took to build a car from more than 12 hours to 2 hours and 30 minutes. December 2nd, 1777. Philadelphia housewife and nurse Lydia Darragh single-handedly saved the lives of General George Washington and his Continental Army when she overheard the British planning a surprise attack on Washington's army for the following day. December 3rd, 1818. Illinois achieves full statehood on this day. Though Illinois presented unique challenges to immigrants unaccustomed to the soil and vegetation of the area, it grew to become a bustling and densely populated state. December 4th, 1992. President George Bush orders 28,000 U.S. troops to Somalia, a war-torn East African nation where rival warlords were preventing the distribution of humanitarian aid. The troops became embroiled in Somalia's political conflict for 15 months before being abruptly called off by President Bill Clinton in 1993. Finally, your weekend history tidbits. December 5th, 1776. 5 students at the College of William and Mary gather at Raleigh's Tavern to form a new fraternity. Phi Beta Kappa, the fraternity was intended to follow American principles as opposed to those of England or Germany. They engaged a political debate and went against the ruling crown of the monarch in England. December 6, 1884. Washington, D.C., workers place a pyramid atop the Tower of White Marble, completing the construction of an impressive monument to the city's namesake and the nation's first president, George Washington. That's This Week in History, your ultimate source for those key moments in time. I'm Samantha Klein. Thanks for stopping by.
This Week in History is brought to you by Kidsville News, a fun and effective learning resource for children, teachers, and parents. Kidsville News is always free. Copies are delivered every month to every elementary school in the New Hanover County School System. And join us again next time for another journey through time as we explore the fun, fascinating, entertaining, and educational facts that make up This Week in History. We have plenty more of the morning show ahead, including the Zoo Files and our new segment, Science Nation. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this short break.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Who was president? The years 1969 to 1974. He was the first president to visit all 50 states. He was the first president to visit communist China. He was part of the worst political scandal in American history. If you guessed Richard M. Nixon, you're right. He was the 37th president of the United States. This presidential pop quiz has been brought to you by New Hanover County Schools on the Learning Network, Time Warner Cable Channel 5.
Welcome back to the morning show. I'm Marley Hughes. And I'm Hannah Bolick. The mission of Career Technical Education is to help empower students for effective participation in an international economy as world-class workers and citizens. They have a wide range of programs offered to both middle school and high school students. Today, we take an in-depth look at one of those programs. We travel to Ashley High School and learn about the Microsoft Academy program.
The Microsoft IT Academy came to New Hanover County into North Carolina a few years ago. I think this is the third year we've been testing students in the Microsoft IT Academy. And what it is, it's two different classes. The first class is the Word and PowerPoint class. Students are able to take the Microsoft Office Specialist test and obtain industry standard certification. They also can have the opportunity to take the Excel and Access class and obtain the certification from the class. It's nice to be able for the students to be able to leave high school with credentials so that they can step into the workforce. At the beginning of the semester, students spend 9 weeks learning about Microsoft Word 2010. And what they do through this course of this class is they complete projects that teach the students the intricate programs within Word, such as adding tools and tables and formatting content so that the students can create attractive professional looking documents. Then they move on to PowerPoint, which we are actually just now getting ready to start. In the PowerPoint section, they learn not just how to put words into a slide, but to create interactive and animated PowerPoint. One of the best projects that the kids do in my class is that they tell a children's story. So what they do is they tell a children's story from another character's perspective, and they animate each one of the slides. After they complete our this class, they're able to go ahead and take the Excel and Access class, which are set up much the same way. The Excel class, the students learn how to create formulas and use the data. And Access, they focus primarily on creating forms, queries, and reports.
We did this one project with watermarks, which is a background image that you can blur out to make it. Have you ever had like a document from another company that has something written in the background? We did a project like that where we took an image and then we made it into words, like we wrote over it and then colored it to look like the image. I thought that was pretty cool.
My favorite project would probably be the watermark project, where you can insert a picture and make the text color and then delete the picture, and your words and your text and the color make the picture. And it's really cool because you can actually pick your own picture and your colors and the text and everything, kind of make it unique in your own picture.
This year, well actually last year, North Carolina adopted the Microsoft Office approved curriculum. And it's a book, a digital or online textbook that we can download, so the students, instead of having a physical textbook, it's all completely on the computer. Typically, teachers teach from the front of the room. They present information, students take notes, and then they're given a guided and an independent practice. Well, this semester, once I began and I realized we have such a variety of students in the class, levels of learning, the students really prefer to go through it on their own. So what I did is I provided the students with all of the materials. They go through the notes and the projects themselves, and then as the need arises, I come around and I help them. So they've all felt that that was a much better way of learning. I think it's so different from the way that I learned when I was growing up. I learned by being shown something. Kids now really prefer to learn it on their own. A lot of the counselors like to recommend the students to take this class as freshmen or sophomore early on because of the insurmountable amount of work that students have to do these days. With the senior projects, the students have to create MLA papers, they have to format them correctly, and they also have to create PowerPoints to do presentations for all of their classes. They have to do projects like brochures, and by taking my class, they have the opportunity to already know how to use the software and turn in above average work just because they know how to format it correctly.
I've never really had an online class, and it's pretty cool as I'm fairly good with computers, so it's nice to be able to do something I'm good at and learn a lot. I've actually learned a lot about the Microsoft Word 2010, how to use all the tabs and ribbons, and it's actually going to be pretty helpful later in my life for the career I want to go into.
At the beginning of the class, when kids come in, they think that this is just a computer class, or they think that it's people who aren't familiar with it, they think that this class is just a simple typing class, and it is absolutely not. I stress the importance that leaving high school with industry standard certifications gives them an ability to get jobs and differentiate them from their peers. It's very competitive to get into any college or any program or any job. So one of the things I tell them is that it differentiates yourself in today's competitive market, it broadens your employment opportunities, and Microsoft has lots of statistics that says 55% of hiring managers consider employee certifications first. They consider people with those certifications before they're ever able to hire somebody else. They say, look what you can do already, I don't have to train you. That's really important for kids to understand. And through the state of North Carolina, we are blessed with the opportunity to take the test for free. Each high school is has purchased a certain amount of licenses so the kids can have the opportunity to test for free.
If you would like to learn more about Microsoft Academy program or any of New Hanover County Schools CTE programs, visit the website www.nhcs.net/workforce or call our office at 254-4241. All right, it's time now to send it over to the news desk for more Your School News and our news anchor, Louis Behar, who is standing by. Good morning, Louis.
Good morning and welcome to Your School News on the Morning Show. I'm Louis Behar. Our top story, New Hanover County Schools Superintendent Dr. Tim Markley held his first parent forum to outline plans regarding changes to dual immersion program currently at Forest Hills. The forum was designed to give parents an opportunity to provide an input and learn more about the plans to expand the program. We get a report on the meeting at Gregory Elementary from YSN reporter Bobby Blue.
Last week, New Hanover County Schools held the first of 2 meetings for parents at Gregory to learn more about a proposal to move the current Spanish immersion program from Forest Hills Elementary School to Gregory School of Science, Math, and Technology. Spanish immersion allows students to learn, for the most part, in Spanish. Superintendent Dr. Tim Markley told the small group in attendance that Gregory has the classroom space because of its low enrollment and the infrastructure to handle the influx of the Spanish immersion program students. He said Forest Hills is at capacity and there is a long waiting list for the program. Also with Dr. Markley was Assistant Superintendent of Instruction Dr. LaShawn Smith, who shared information with the group of similar programs at schools in the state. She told them about end-of-grade testing results from students in these programs that was more than 200% higher than those of students in traditional classes. Markley also told the group that studies show children enroll in dual language immersion programs outperform peers on tests, including the SAT, and can earn up to 20% more in salaries as adults. Some parents like the idea of the dual immersion program coming to Gregory, but a few did have questions about the current Gregory students being left behind academically and school being year-round. Both Dr. Markley and Dr. Smith assured the parents and teachers in attendance that no one would be left behind, that the plan called for moving the successful current immersion program from Forest Hills to Gregory, that with the space available, the program would expand from its current K-5 configuration to a K-8 configuration, that the district would also continue to support the current students at Gregory in their STEM program until they transition to middle school. In addition, the district would bring in VIF International Education Services to help with the transition and expansion. Dr. Smith told the parents that VIF is a recognized national leader in immersion education. The school district is holding a second meeting at Forest Hills Elementary on Wednesday, the 18th. While the New Hanover School Board is set to decide on the future of the program on December 1st. Reporting for Your School News, this is Bobby Blue.
6 New Hanover County Schools employees have been selected to participate in the 2015-2016 Coaches Cadre of the Digital Leaders Coaches Network. The NC Friday Institute has collaborated with Project Tomorrow, a national education nonprofit organization, and the North Carolina Technology and Education Society to develop the program in order to assist schools and districts in the process of transitioning to digital learning environments and to cultivate local capacity by providing support to those in coaching roles. As coaches are essential to leading and supporting student-centered digital teaching and learning, of the hundreds of applicants received, 70 educators from 38 districts were selected as in this year's cohort. The New Hanover County Schools employees that were selected are Karen Sherman, Tempe Simmons, Jessica Scarf, Lisa Coley, Ryan Red, and Jenny Timken. A veteran who has received the nation's highest military honor gave back knowledge to students in the area. Master Sergeant retired Leroy Petrie spoke to students, many of whom were in a JROTC at Hoggard High School. Petrie served in the Army for more than 15 years. During that time, he had several tours in Afghanistan. Petrie lost his right hand protecting his comrades in battle. In 2011, President Obama awarded Petrie with the Medal of Honor, the highest military honor in the country.
A man sees a grenade and he decides, you know, it's my duty to run towards the grenade and throw that grenade rather than run away from the grenade. I mean, that just shows how much, you know, pride and respect and you know, just courage that he had to go towards that grenade and throw it away from his men, and that's just inspiring and motivational.
He told it, or when he came back to his son, when like his son saw his arm, and it just like really hit me, like it doesn't matter about like him being whole, it matters him being home.
Opting to re-enlist in spite of his wounds, Petrie remained on active duty in the U.S. Army until his retirement on July the 29th of 2014. As part of the paying tribute to missing in action prisoners of war, of whom over 80,000 service members are still unaccounted for, Leroy participated and completed a 10-day cross-country run for the wall to pay honor for those who can't ride in a customized Harley-Davidson Tri-Glide motorcycle. He was also part of a 4-man ceremonial team to lay a wreath at the Tomb of the Unknowns in Arlington, Virginia on May 2015. For all the latest New Hanover County Schools, join us on weekdays at 5:30 p.m. here on Time Warner Cable Channel 5 and Charter Cable Channel 191. For Your School News, a complete half hour of all the latest news and information from New Hanover County Schools. Now back to our hosts.
Thanks, Lewis. In addition to watching Your School News and the morning show, you can see many of NHCS TV's programming online. Just go to the school system's website at www.nhcs.net and click on the NHCS TV logo right there on the front page. You can watch great programs there like the Sports Roundtable, the Forum, and Up Front with the Superintendent. It's an excellent way to watch our programming, whenever you want. Shifting gears now, we have everyone's favorite segment from the North Carolina Zoo at Asheboro. The Zoo Files tells us all about the different animals, exhibits, and happenings at the zoo. Technology is having a major impact on the way veterinarians treat animals at the North Carolina Zoo. We get the scoop from Rod Hackney in today's Zoo Files report.
In the world of the modern-day zoo, technology is playing an ever-increasing role in every aspect of daily operations. And nowhere is this more evident than in the area of zoo veterinary medicine. The zoo vet can now utilize a host of high-tech treatments and examination techniques that were unheard of in animal medicine just a few years ago. A prime example of this occurred recently here at the North Carolina Zoo when an annual exam was performed on one of our chimpanzees, including an echocardiogram. Zoo Senior Veterinarian Dr. Ryan DeVoe tells us about the procedure and the impact of this technology on zoo animal care.
Well, we have a preventative medicine program that we follow to help us keep track of the health of all our animals in the zoo, and it varies according to species. We typically are looking at the chimpanzees every 1 to 3 years depending on their age and their medical needs, and if there's anything we need to do to change up their care and provide the best possible care for them. Great apes in captivity are especially prone to developing cardiac disease as they age, so we include that as part of our routine preventative medicine program with our great apes. They have echocardiograms or cardiac ultrasounds performed every few years to make sure they don't have any underlying problems we're not aware of. Jonathan, the chimp that we looked at, got a clean bill of health, and all findings seem to be normal. As we become more adept at applying some of these newer technologies and diagnostic procedures to our animals in the zoo, it gives us the ability to detect and diagnose disease at a much earlier stage than we were able to previously, and ideally intervene and increase the animal's lifespan and keep them healthier for longer.
Use of high-tech tools such as the echocardiogram is just another example of the zoo's efforts to ensure the health of our animals. If you'd like to learn more, please visit our website at nczoo.org. I'm Rod Hackney reporting for the Zoo Files, connecting your life to wildlife.
The North Carolina Zoo near Asheboro is open year-round. For more information, call 1-800-488-0444 or visit the zoo website at www.nczoo.org.
That was another excellent edition of the Zoo Files. Thank you, Rod. From Zoo News to Science News, we are thrilled to bring you the National Science Foundation's online magazine, Science Nation. In this feature, they examine the breakthroughs and the possibilities for new discoveries about our planet, our universe, and ourselves. Each week, Science Nation takes a dynamic, entertaining look at the research and the researchers that will change our lives.
When it comes to communication, sometimes it's our body language that says the most, especially the eyes.
It turns out that gaze tells us all sorts of things about attention, about mental states, about roles in conversations.
Hi, I'm Wakamaru. Nice to meet you.
So what happens when you design machines to gaze just like people do? Scientists at the University of Wisconsin are, looking into that.
We can build animated agents and robots that can communicate more effectively by using the very subtle cues that people use.
With support from the National Science Foundation, computer scientists Bilge Mutlu and Michael Gleischer are developing computational models designed to give robots and animated characters lifelike gaze behavior.
I have a task for you to categorize these objects on the table into boxes.
Mutlu demonstrated an experiment for us that looks at how well humans carry out a robot-directed sorting task. In one case, the robot very naturally glances toward the objects on the table it wants sorted as it speaks.
Would you help me put the green object with one peg into the red box, please?
In another case, the robot just stares at the person.
Could you help me put the green object with 2 pegs that is shorter into the red box, please?
When the robot uses human-like gaze cues, people are much faster in locating the objects that they have to move.
Another experiment explores how an animated character's eyes affect human learning.
Today I will be telling you a story that comes straight from ancient China.
When the lecturer looked at the map at appropriate times to indicate to the participant that now as I'm talking about something on the map, the participant ended up learning more about the spatial locations.
The Wisconsin team hopes their work will transform how humanoid robots and animated characters interface with people, especially in classrooms.
We can design technology that really benefits people in learning, in health and well-being, and collaborative work.
Now that's technology worth keeping an eye on.
Isn't that cute?
For Science Nation, I'm Miles O'Brien.
That was another neat segment from Science Nation. It definitely seemed more natural to me when the robot in the animation moved their head to where they wanted you to look. It did. Now, as we head to break, we have the word of the week. Each week, we highlighted an advanced English word, so when you use them in a sentence, you can impress even educated speakers. If you like having an extensive and impressive vocabulary, try learning our word of the week. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The magical thing about using energy wisely is that anyone can do it. Use energy-saving light bulbs, Energy Smart Power Strips, and turn off computers and game systems when not in use. Get together and make a difference. Learn what you can do at energy.gov/tink.
I wish I was in school.
If only I had a math test today.
Or a book report to give.
I wish I was in school.
I'll stay after class. I'll clean the chalkboard. I'll do extra homework. I'll skip recess.
I wish I was in school.
I wish I was in school.
I really wish I was in school.
School ends, but free lunches for your kids don't have to. Find your local food bank at feedingamerica.org/summer meals for help. Together, we're feeding America.
Welcome back to the morning show. Each month, we are thrilled to spotlight an individual school teacher of the year. In this segment entitled A+ Teachers, we take the time to get to know a little bit about the teacher's background and get an understanding of their philosophy of teaching that earned them their school's honor of Teacher of the Year. This morning, we feature Ashley High School Teacher of the Year, Peggy Bridgers.
My philosophy of teaching is that I think that education is the great equalizer, and I think it's one of the most important jobs that anyone can have. So I'm glad that I get to help teach people things every day, because I think that obviously the more educated you are and the more skills that you have, the more options you have in life. So I think that that's tremendously powerful, and I think that why would anyone want to have limited options or be a victim when you have other avenues? So I like the fact that I get to help people be their best selves every day. I would have to say that my background is that this is my 16th year teaching. I've always been an English teacher, but I also am certified to teach history, and I would like to do that at some point. So I have a lot of interest in, I would have to say that I knew that I wanted to be a high school teacher from the time I was in high school, and it took me a little bit of time to narrow down what subject, because I like a lot of subjects, honestly. I've always really liked school, and I know that not everyone does, so I feel blessed in that capacity. But I'm a people person, and I always liked explaining to other people how to do things. I do that in all aspects of my life, honestly. Anytime I discover a new band or I learn how to do something new, I'm like, oh, I learned how to sew this, or I learned how to paint this, or whatever. I like to teach those things to other people. So I decided on English because I felt like I could be more creative with that and have a little more flexibility to do things the way that I wanted to do them. And I think that English is universally applicable to pretty much everything that we do, because if you can speak well and read well and write well, I think you can do anything. One of the things that troubles me is this idea that there are all these education innovations out there, and I think that honestly a lot of the things that are more effective really require going back to the basics, which is, do you understand the fundamentals? Do you have certain skills? And I think what it really comes down to is it doesn't matter what great technology you have or what great idea you have if you're not connecting with people. I think that that's the most important component. Like, you have to know your students and you have to care about them. And all the other stuff can just be bells and whistles if you're not careful. I like to be able to text parents from anywhere, anytime, and that's pretty effective, and it's free, it's easy to do that. And for parents to know that they can ask me questions, I think that's important as well. But I think most of what it comes down to is just making yourself available. It's not that there's some magic bullet, there's some way to, like, oh, just do this or just do this. I think it just comes down to even the way that we talk to people, making sure that we approach it as, how can the parent and the student and the teacher best work together, not, here's what I need you to do or here's what your kid is not doing. I don't think that's a really effective way to do anything, but it's more like we're all part of a team and we're all kind of essentially our own educational family, and how can we best, communicate with each other to meet each other's needs, if that makes sense, and to best help the students. So I like to utilize technology in their homework assignments, and we use their phones, honestly, because those things actually work. The resources that they have at home usually work, and their cell phones work, so we use those for a lot of things. But ultimately, I just received a laptop to hook to my projector, which I've been waiting on. I've had some cracked screens and some other things, just where I kind of got some hand-me-downs and they never worked, and so I haven't had one for a while, and just finally got a decent projector to hook to the new laptop. I really have enjoyed being able to teach creative writing again. That's one of my favorite programs, and every now and then we get to kind of bring it back. It depends on just what's a priority and funding, obviously, and things like that, but it's so much fun. And so recently we were able to bring that back, and I started teaching honors creative writing again last year, and we had so much fun with that because we got to analyze movies and write our own screenplays and analyze songs and write our own songs, and I had kids performing and rapping and singing, and that's really fun. Not everybody gets to do that. Obviously, other subject areas don't get to do that, so I feel very blessed.
Thank you, Ms. Bridgers. We have so many great teachers here in the New Hanover County school system. It's great to learn about them.
All right, it's time now for this week's lunch menu. This is the menu for Monday, November 30th through Monday, December 7th.
On Monday, November 30th, start the week off right with a chicken filet sandwich, a lasagna roll-up with a breadstick, or corn dog nuggets. Accompany your meal with black-eyed peas and diced peaches.
Then, on Tuesday, December 1st, embark on a delicious journey by treating yourself with either orange chicken with rice and an egg roll, or meatball hoagie, or a bodacious bacon cheeseburger. Continue your travels down the lunch line with flavor-packed sides of glorious glazed carrots, great green beans, and fantastic fresh fruit.
On Wednesday, December 2nd, get your grub on with chicken pot pie, a pork chop sandwich, or cheesy breadsticks. Either way, be sure to add pasta salad, corn, and diced pears to your plate.
On Thursday, December 3rd, you won't want to miss out on lunch, as your cafeteria will be serving stuffed crust pizza, a chicken club sandwich, or popcorn chicken with a roll. No matter which you choose, you can add macaroni salad, tomato and cucumber salad, broccoli, and fresh fruit.
Then, on Friday, December 4th, end the week on a high note and chow down on delicious hot dog with chili, fish sticks with hush puppies, or chicken nuggets with a roll. Accompany your meal with baked beans, carrot sticks, and spiced apples for dessert.
Finally, on Monday, December 7th, enjoy scrumptious chicken and cheese pasta with a breadstick, exquisite French bread pizza, or a deluxe chicken sandwich. Complement your entree with garden peas, glazed sweet potatoes, and mixed fruit.
And there you have the lunch menu for the week. In addition to those items, milk, a garden salad, French bread, pizza, and a peanut butter and jelly combo will be available daily.
So many delicious choices. Don't forget, you can also start your day off right with a healthy and hearty breakfast at school. Bell Ringers is our next segment this morning, and it's from the C-SPAN classroom. This series features a biography of each of our country's presidents. Beginning with our first show of the school year, we started with our first president, George Washington. Each week, we feature the next president until we've covered them all and bring the series to a close next summer. Enjoy learning about the people who have led our country in this riveting series. Here's this week's episode of Bell Ringers.
Despite his political resume, Polk had served as governor of Tennessee from 1839 to 1841. Before that, he'd been a member of the U.S. House of Representatives for 14 years. He's still the only president to have served as Speaker of the House. Nevertheless, a newspaper reported many were astonished by the news of his nomination, and some even wondered if the newly invented telegraph wasn't broken. The opposition Whig Party campaign slogan became, "Who is Polk?" He was born November 2nd, 1795, in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, but moved with his family to Tennessee by the age of 10. He graduated with honors from the University of North Carolina in 1818 and went on to study law. He was nicknamed Young Hickory because of his staunch support of Andrew Jackson, Polk the Plotter for the conscientiousness he showed while Speaker, and Napoleon of the Stump because of his short stature. His hair was straight and combed back off his face, and he had deep-set, penetrating gray eyes. He was said to have lacked charisma and a sense of humor. He was also uncomfortable in social situations. At White House functions, guests were rushed past the president, and an aide would repeat continuously, "Guests who have been presented will please walk into the East Room. Don't block up the passage." His moderate consumption of alcohol prompted an enemy to once say his problem was that he drank too much water. He married the intelligent and refined Sarah Childress when he was 28 and she was 20. She was said to have enjoyed her social duties when Polk was a congressman, and even more so when he was elected president. A devout Presbyterian, she banned dancing and hard liquor at official White House functions. She was the first to host the now annual Thanksgiving dinner at the White House. She offered her husband advice on public policy and often highlighted newspaper articles for him to read. His inauguration took place on a rainy March 4th, 1845. His vice president was George Mifflin Dallas, after whom Dallas, Texas was named. The catchphrase most closely associated with Polk is "Manifest Destiny," the push to expand the country westward. Following the Mexican War in 1848, the United States gained over 500,000 square miles of new territory. Polk was in a continual state of poor health. At age 17, he successfully had surgery without the aid of antiseptics or anesthesia. He was plagued with stomach problems for the majority of his life. When his term ended, Polk retired. He wrote in his diary, "I feel exceedingly relieved that I am now free from all public cares. I am sure I'll be a happier man in my retirement than I have been during the 4 years I have filled the highest office in the gift of my countrymen." Following Zachary Taylor's inauguration, Polk embarked on a 1-month tour of the South. He fell ill during this time and died on June 15, 1849, 3 months after returning to Polk Place in Tennessee. He was 53.
As we head into a break, we continue our focus on our wonderful country with a new fun series of bumpers.
The United States has a rich, interesting history and a unique system of government. Knowing about our country is a very important part of being a good citizen.
Take our quick civics quiz and see what you know, or perhaps it will help you to learn more about U.S. history and government.
I first started skating with my friend. He had an extra board, and then he just gave it to me, and I've been skating ever since. Well, when I don't land a trick and I have my mind set on something, and I'm not getting what I want, I just keep going for it until I get it right. My mom, she didn't go to college, so she wants me to experience that whole thing, and so I could end up getting like a good job. I think to get into college, I'll have to be determined, just like when I want to get a new trick, and skating's helped me realize I've got what it takes.
I can listen. I can cook.
Good. I can coach.
Kids with something to do are less likely to do drugs.
I can drive.
I can paint.
I can dance.
A little of your time can make a lifetime of difference.
I can read.
I can help. You can help. Call toll-free 1-877-KIDS-313 to find out about community drug prevention programs.
I can keep a kid off drugs.
Welcome back to the morning show. I'm Hannah Bullock. It's time now for The Buzz. In this entertainment report, our host takes a look at upcoming releases from movies, books, music, and video games. This week's host, Leah Schwegel, tells us about 3 of the hottest movies coming out this December.
Hello, and welcome to The Buzz. I'm Leah Schwegel. It may be December, but the scorching summer heat is upon us at the movies this month. Summer has long been known as the time for movie blockbusters, but this December's lineup is sure to break that mold. Today, I'm featuring 3 of the hottest upcoming must-see movies. Coming out on December 10th is In the Heart of the Sea. This movie takes place in the 1820s as sailors on a New England ship called Essex are attacked by a whale of enormous size and destroys their ship. Pushed to their limits and facing storms, starvation, panic, and despair, the survivors must resort to the unthinkable to stay alive. Their tale would convince the author Herman Melville to write the book Moby Dick. It is directed by Ron Howard and features a star-studded cast including Chris Hemsworth, Cillian Murphy, and Brendan Gleeson. Then, on December 24th, head to the theater to see Concussion. This dramatic thriller is based on the incredible true David versus Goliath story of Dr. Bennett Omalu, who fought against efforts by National Football League to suppress his research on the brain damage suffered by professional football players. The film stars Will Smith and is sure to tug at your heart as it enlightens you on the seriousness of brain injuries and concussions. And finally, coming out on December 18th is a film that needs no introduction, Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Under the direction of J.J. Abrams, the return to that galaxy far, far away is upon us. The saga continues 30 years after Return of the Jedi and features both the old cast and an all-new cast. The movie has been the talk of the media for quite a while now, and the tickets are already on sale. Reserve yours now so you don't miss out. This December may be cold outside, but I'm sure you'll find that summer heat at your local movie theater. Embrace the December blockbusters and head to the theaters this month. Who knows, I may see you there. For The Buzz, I'm Leah Schwegel.
Thanks for those recommendations, Leah. I can't wait to see those movies.
Me either.
It's time for more Your School News. So let's send it back over to our news anchor, Louis Behad.
Thank you, Marley and Hannah, and welcome everyone to Your School News here on The Morning Show. Superintendents from across the region descended on New Hanover County for a quarterly superintendents meeting. The meeting, facilitated by Dr. Tim Markley, allowed the area superintendents to discuss a variety of educational issues and to also get a first-hand look at some innovative program in New Hanover County schools. We get the full report from Grace Gold.
10 superintendents from the Southeast region came to New Hanover County as part of the Southeast Superintendents Council meeting. The meeting was part of the quarterly board meeting of the Southeast Education Alliance. The Alliance is an educational service agency that promotes the general advancement of pre-K through 12 education in southeastern North Carolina. During the meeting, the members got a chance to travel to New Hanover High School to learn about the school's Honors Service Learning Program for juniors and seniors and the Lyceum program. Elizabeth Feltz, founder of the Service Learning Program at New Hanover, told the visiting superintendents that the program is the first of its kind in any public school in North Carolina. She outlined how the Service Learning course is a dual-purpose course that integrates academic and career readiness curriculum with a civic or service component. Students, she told the gathering, divide their week between 2 days of classroom instruction and collaborative learning with 3 days of service time on site at a partner organization. Also on hand were students currently enrolled in the program who shared with the superintendents how the course has opened their eyes to the world and helped prepare them for responsibilities after graduation. The superintendents also got a look at New Hanover's Lyceum program. The program's founder and one of its teachers, Gordon Massengale, told the superintendents that Lyceum fosters a thoughtful place where a community of learners, both teachers and students, develop essential habits of mind. He outlined how a fully integrated, multidisciplinary curriculum is at the heart of the academy, with each unit of study drawing upon all 4 core disciplines: English, math, science, and social studies. It was a great time for New Hanover High School to shine.
I like to brag about New Hanover High School. We sometimes get bad publicity, and I wanted them to see that the good things we have going on here by our students and our teachers. And I wanted them to hear from students. I wanted them to walk the hall and see that, you know, we have a great school here.
Following the visit at New Hanover, the superintendents returned to the Board of Education Center for an informational session on design trend sharing from architect Paul Boney and reports from the UNCW and East Carolina University. Reporting for Your School News, this is Grace Gold.
Bradley Creek Elementary School has been awarded a Bright Ideas grant from North Carolina's Electric Cooperatives for $1,400. The grant money will be used to enable 4th graders at Bradley Creek to participate in hands-on learning activities involving electricity and alternative energy sources. Students will conduct experiments in the areas of solar, hydroelectric, water and wind power, and these experiments will allow students to make functional models such as a water wheel with a generator, a wind turbine, and a solar-powered helicopter to depict the vast opportunities different energy sources provide our global community. 4th grade teacher James Scordino was the grant writer. Finally, Holly Tree Elementary participated in the American Heart Association Jump Rope for Heart event. Miss Taylor's 3rd grade class won a special basket for having the most students participate in the fundraising event. This program promotes physical education and provides children with knowledge of heart disease and stroke while raising funds for cardiovascular disease research, stroke research, and health education. Each year, more than 7 million children participate in Jump Rope for Heart events, uniting parents, students, and the community in an important cause. By participating in these events, students are given the opportunity to contribute to the fight against heart disease and stroke by raising money for research and education. Holly Tree raised $6,600 jumping rope. That's all for now. To watch this week's edition of Your School News online, visit the school system's website at www.nhcs.net and click on the NHCS TV logo on the homepage. Now back over to Marley and Hannah.
Thanks, Lewis. We close the days with a brand new feature here on the morning show.
Many years ago, NHCS TV produced a show titled The Picture Show. A popular part of that show was students explaining their artwork they created at school.
Today, we bring that portion of the picture show back with our new segment, Artist Corner.
Here, 3rd grade students in Mrs. Saunders' art class at Blair Elementary show their work and tell us their thoughts on creating it.
Hi, in my 3rd grade art class, we have been talking about abstract art. This abstract art has led us from artists like Henri Matisse all the way to Pablo Picasso. We've been studying Pablo Picasso's paintings. Here you see the Weeping Woman, where she is made of shapes, colors, lines, and then we encourage the students to take a look at themselves and see if they could see themselves like Picasso. Whenever they translated that into their work, we actually took a photograph of them first so that they could choose a pose to work with. Then, looking at the photograph, they made sketches, and then ultimately we painted it because Pablo Picasso was a painter.
I chose this pose because I thought it was funny and I knew I could draw it. The colors are for, like, I made sort of a little bit of the American flag, and I chose the green for like the trees and the yellow for like swirls of the sun and stuff. So I sort of made like my fingers that they're not like really real, and they're like a little bit not how you really have your fingers, like, and your face is like how it's not really, you have just it's not really your normal face. And my nose is just not a normal nose, it's abstract.
This is my artwork, and I added these colors because when our art teacher was talking to us about Pablo Picasso, she said he used shapes and colors. And I did the face different colors from the Weeping Woman, where when she's crying, half her face is blue. I did this pose because it looked easier to make and draw. I enjoyed it because I like painting, and it was just fun to draw it and see how it turned out.
I made my artwork the way I did because I know Picasso liked to use a lot of different shapes. Most of it I used lines, I used some squares, and rectangles in a circle. I chose that pose because I thought it looked like I was riding a bike, and I like to ride my bike a lot. I chose the colors I chose because I really like green and blue. And I know Picasso liked to use a lot of crazy colors, and I know most here isn't blue and most faces aren't green, black, and white.
So this is my picture I painted, and I drew it Picasso style. And I chose the pose because I thought it would be a creative thing to paint. And I drew my eyes like that because I want to make them silly, and I wanted to paint my shirt different colors because I want to be creative with my paint colors. And yeah, and I wanted my hands on my waist because I wanted to make my hands creative and be sassy, and because I love polka dots and stripes, and I thought it would be really cool to make them like different colors. Like at the end I did blue dots, in the middle I did green dots, and at the top I did white dots and red stripes. The reason I chose that pose is it's kind of part of my personality, and I chose these colors because Picasso usually drew his art and colored his art with these types of colors. I chose that background because it's also kind of my personality, and it just felt like, I don't know, it felt very good. I knew Picasso did that, and I wanted to kind of mimic him too. This is me, and I chose this pose because I wanted it to look a little sassy, and I chose all these colors because I just love beautiful colors and I love pink. I designed my face because I didn't really want it to look the same as usual faces do. I did swirly eyes because I really like swirls. I did a swirly nose because I thought it was really cute. And then I really like those swirlies on the cheeks. I just wanted it to look a little cloudy and windy and like it's raining a little bit. Well, I like it because it doesn't really look like you, but it kind of looks like you because I like the colors too. And yeah.
I made me in the pose of holding something, and then I decided of making me holding a video game controller. And I made my face be funny like Picasso, so I made me a little goatee and vampire teeth. I made little rainbows and everything for the little carpet thing, the scene, to make it show the human and the actual persons. I was trying to be like Picasso, so I made me have little spots and dots all over the place. I've seen a lot of paintings from Pablo Picasso, and I've seen some of them that have lines all over them, and basically sometimes he would use his imagination to create different paintings with his mind. So I wanted to put my imagination to create me as a genie. I enjoyed it really well because I was thinking about becoming an artist when I was 5 years old. Then when I started hearing about Pablo Picasso, I kind of got into being an artist when I was little.
That was some great artwork. Thank you, Ms. Saunders and her class of young artists for sharing that with us. We hope to bring you more segments of the Artist Corner this school year.
Well, that does it for this edition of The Morning Show.
For the best TV of all, each and every day, keep it tuned right here for New Hanover County Schools TV on the Learning Network of the Cape Fear.
Have a great day
and a wonderful week.